Vinyl records are making a massive comeback. But apparently, that's a problem for some people. They get, I don't know, triggered, I guess. And look, I get it. Vinyl isn't perfect. But then again, nothing in this world is perfect. If everything was perfect, it would be a very boring world. But the fact is, I do get comments on this channel where folks feel the need to tell me exactly what they think of vinyl. Now, check this one out. Now, how about that? That was a well-reasoned argument. And I love the fact that they had to throw in only losers buy it. Well, I've been called worse. Well, how about this genius? Now, that's a passionate hater right there. But let's forget about him for a moment. Let's focus on this one because there might be something in it. Okay, so we can work with these. How about we start with noisy? Yes, vinyl makes noise. There's a pop here and maybe there's a crackle there, but not always. But sure, with some well-used, loved records, maybe. You know what else makes noise? Literally everything. You ever go outside? Birds chirp, cars honk. Your neighbor is always mowing his lawn, especially if you're trying to record a video or a podcast. And what about a concert? People clap, they cough, they shout, they scream the lyrics, and a lot of times they do it when drunk. And while we're on the subject of noise, there's this gem. Okay, fact, but surface noise is not inherent in vinyl records. No, I commented recently that if a record has a lot of surface noise, has pops and clicks and hisses and all that, that it was not being handled properly. And some folks took offense at that, and perhaps rightly so. So I retract that statement because it could be that they bought it at a used record store, and you have no control if you buy a used record. Even if the record looks perfect on, visually, when you get it home and put it on the turntable, it may have those pops, clicks, and hisses because of the prior owner. So I retract that statement. But that being said, there are things you can do if your record is a little bit noisy. You can clean a record. But then again, in a recent video about cleaning records, I had this comment. I don't know. Why buy dishes that you have to clean? Or do you clean your car? Probably not. But cleaning a record takes what? A minute? 2 minutes? Well, back to this one. I'm going to skip overpriced for just a moment. Let's jump right to inconvenient. I also had this. So the complaint is that vinyl records are physically real. Okay. Well, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the complaint has more to do with this. I can imagine the effort must be unbearable for that person. Look, playing a record is really a ritual, and I get it, some folks aren't into that ritual. But the problem isn't vinyl. Now, I haven't forgotten about overpriced, but how about this? Is that true? Well, maybe it is. I've never tried to warp a CD. I would assume if you put it next to extreme heat, it'll warp. I don't know, but I don't really care. Yes, records can warp. They don't like extreme heat. Store them properly, keep them out of the sun, and they shouldn't warp. But I know some people don't like to hear that because they're opposed to science, or I don't know. I honestly don't get it, so I'm not even going to try to figure them out. But I will say that there are records, brand new records, in fact, that show up new, sealed, and when you unseal it, they're warped. And that happens at the factory. And I hate it when it happens. It happened to me recently, just this past month. So there's not much you can do about it except complain. Well, I'm not sure why the profanity, and I'm not sure why you're watching a channel about vinyl records. Why aren't you watching The Joy of CDs? I mean, I don't care what you watch, but seriously? Then again, I know some people get upset at other people's happiness. It's like recently I talked about solid state amps and tube amps. And I was really focusing on tube amps because that's what I enjoy. And that brought out a bunch of haters because I don't know why. If somebody said to me, Rick, I love solid state amps, I'd say, oh, awesome. Enjoy your music. That's great. But some people get triggered when they hear tubes and they feel they have to talk about it. I don't get it. Okay, let's tackle overpriced. Yes, I do have to side with you here. Records can be overpriced. Not so fast. You can find some great deals at Discogs, even some on eBay, or especially at your local record store. All you have to do is look. If you go to places like, say, Walmart or even, those other big box stores and even on Amazon, yes, you probably will pay top dollar. Vinyl is a niche product, and people and collectors are willing to pay top dollar in some cases if it's say, a limited pressing or a rare record and there's not many out there to find. So I get that, but there are also new records that are, I would say, well overpriced. Those 180-gram records, for example. And I know a lot goes into manufacturing records. You've got manufacturing, shipping, the cost of pressing the record. I mean, there's a lot that goes on into making a vinyl record. So I get it. Costs are prohibitive in some cases. And it's worth noting that the production process for creating a vinyl record is way more than, say, producing a CD or even preparing a song for streaming. I don't like spending a lot on records, and I look for deals when I can, like really with any hobby. But don't forget, a record, even one that's 40 bucks, brings with it hours of enjoyment after that initial investment. One night out for dinner, which lasts a couple of hours, costs double that or even triple that. It's also important to note that vinyl records have a rich history and they're an important part of our culture and have been for decades, over half a century. And I do get it that it's not for everybody, but I don't understand the haters. So before you just write it all off as overpriced plastic, take some time to learn about it. Maybe listen to a record. And if you don't own a turntable, that's fine. I'm sure a friend of yours does. And if not, well, then just stream music. So what have we learned today? Vinyl isn't perfect. It has its quirks. It has a lot of quirks, but the rewards far outweigh those quirks. And another thing, if you're watching this and you're triggered and you feel the need to leave a very, I don't know, negative comment, that's fine. Go ahead. As long as you're respectful, I'll leave the comment there. I don't delete them unless somebody says, includes profanity or attacks somebody else who's made a comment. But that's it. Thank you for being here. I'm glad you took the time to watch this. It means a lot to me. If you do want to leave a comment, please do so below. If this information was helpful in any way, shape, or form, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's also a newsletter, and I'll put a link in the description for the newsletter. Again, thank you. And until next time, take care of yourself, enjoy your records, and I'll see you soon.